I went to the gym and I still felt like it was Monday, but woke up this morning. There was a bit of frost on the ground. For all you people that don't see frost or snow, I wasn't that excited about it, but maybe you would be if you could see the frost. But it's gone now. But it's still cold as hell out here, and I got me coffee to have me coffee with Cannon. I don't see anyone showing up yet. Where is everybody? Hopefully. Oh, there we go. Claire, hi. How are you? Claire, 36 seconds I took to get so many of MC's audio. Good to see you, Mike. Lisa Clark, hey. And for all you folks that say I'm not really drinking coffee, today I have coffee in here. I really do because it's cold out here. Did everyone have a good Thanksgiving? Do you now feel like you now need to go on a diet for a little bit? I do. I feel like I gained a few pounds, but that's what the holidays are for, right? To have some fun. The best I had was those turkey sandwiches with stuffing, cranberry sauce, and mayo on white bread. Oh my God. That's better than the regular Thanksgiving. Much better. I totally enjoyed it. Roll Tide Reader, hello. How are you guys? Great to see everyone. Sven Larsen from Sweden. How are you? The Danes, Denmark, I'm sorry. Denmark. The Danes are here. Good to see the Danes. Great to see you guys. So, Claire, I love the stuffing too. To me, the stuffing is like, and we really didn't cook this year. We made like a turkey breast because my wife was not in really great condition to cook. But I bought 6 pounds of stuffing, and my wife was like, "Oh, we'll never eat that." Guess what? There's like 2 spoonfuls left. So I ate it by eating all those damn turkey sandwiches. But it was fun. It was fun. South Africa, Elise E is in the house. Oh, so great to see you, South Africa. Do you guys celebrate Thanksgiving? I don't know if you celebrate that in Thanksgiving. Cheers. Coffee with Cannon, guys. And I really do have coffee in the cup today. It's snowing here in the UK. Wow. New York here. I don't know, maybe further up north there was some snow. I'm going to call my son today. He's in Denver. I wonder if they got snow in Denver, you know. There's a lot of sleepyheads. No one's showing up. Joey Brooklyn, good to see you, buddy. MC's audio, nice mug. Of course, that's the police off the cuff mug. Vintage bleached blonde. How about putting a shot of brandy? On Thanksgiving morning, I had some Baileys. I love Baileys. I put some Baileys, not even in my coffee, just straight up, because I don't know how you guys are, but 2 cups of coffee in the morning, that's about all I can have. This is actually my third, so I'm sort of violating my rules and going over my you know, how much coffee I should actually have. Julia for Justice, you just woke up. Good to see you here, Julia. Great to see you guys. All you folks are starting to wake up, starting to get out of bed from all different areas. The truth, I don't know if those hydrangea trees, they very well could be. All the landscaping is handled by my wife. I pay no attention to it. I like the beauty of it, but you're not going to see me on a damn lawnmower. That's not ever happening again. Jamie Johnson, having your second cup. Cheers. So, we have a pretty cool show coming up on Tuesday. And we have Stephen Kehoe, who is a retired Scotland Yard inspector. In London or in England, you guys call your detectives inspectors. We call them detectives. I see Joe Murray and Angie Yang, they got stirred out of their sleep and they're showing up. You guys drinking coffee? Did Angie and Joe have a good Thanksgiving? Good to see you guys. It's great that you guys wake up. My sister who lives in Florida tells me she never gets the alerts for these shows. And I said, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you're subscribed. You should be getting the alerts. When is Allegedly Guilty going to do another show? I mean, we've all been waiting with bated breath for your next show. So we're doing a show Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Stephen Kehoe, who is a retired 30-year veteran of Scotland Yard, an inspector. You guys call your investigators inspectors, in Brit we call them detectives. And we're sort of going to compare notes on how they investigate murders in Scotland Yard and how we do it here in the U.S. And we're going to speak a little bit about Brian Laundrie, Gabby Petito, Summer Wells, cases that he should probably be aware of. And, not that, look, there's going to be no huge differences in the way London bobbies or inspectors investigate murder as compared to how the NYPD does it. Uh, Krista Hart, I had tried a toasted sandwich with turkey, hummus, mayo, and cranberry. It was very good. Of course, that is the recipe. That's the police off the cuff recipe. Cheers. Oh, Angie, you guys are going to go on this afternoon still testing the program. I told you, use StreamYard. I don't care what Josh says. Use StreamYard. Josh tried to get them to use some other program. I don't know what the hell the name of that program is, but StreamYard works great. Really works great. Billy, I subbed to Mike Cologne's channel. He's a very talented individual as well as Mike Cologne. And then, no, Mike Cologne is not an NYPD officer, but as I predicted, Mike Cologne is going to be a superstar broadcaster. He is so talented. He's got the great voice. He's a great, he researches his interviews so well. He's such a damn good interviewer. He's scary. But no, I think he's conflicted over whether to do real crime or whether to do sports. He loves sports. He had Bob Costas on a couple of weeks ago. Bob Costas is a legendary broadcaster here in the U.S. And he seems to get amazing guests, Mike Cologne. He had Ashley Banfield on. He gets these guests. I'm like, how the hell did you get that person, He reminds me of me. People ask, oh, how'd you guys get Sammy the Bull? That's a long story, Joe Murray, I have an interest, says he has an interest in the Ahmaud Arbery case. Very interesting case. All three of those individuals got convicted, and they're potentially facing lots of time, long time in prison. Real crime within sports problem? No, not Lisa Clark. No, not real crime within sports. Real crime or sports. He loves doing sports shows. And I thought I just saw Mike Cologne was in the chat, so he could clarify that. But I told him he should do real crime, and he was like, oh, but I love sports. I go, all right, Mike, I'm not going to tell you. Here he is. I'm doing a mix of everything. I'm doing all of my shows on StreamYard from now on, too. See, finally, Mike Cologne listens to me. It only took him like 6 months to a year to listen to me. Believe the sergeant. When the sergeant gives an order, take the order, all right? Yeah. Mike Cologne's a brilliant. He's gonna be a star someday. He really is. He's so good, and that's why we have him. He works for us as a. Joe Murray, I just started watching the trial by fast forwarding to Travis's testimony. It was very compelling. Derry, New Hampshire, Michael Amari, good to see you again. Cheers, guys. Coffee with Cannon in the morning, and it's cold out here. Guys, I had a woman, and I don't have her name in front of me right now, but she contacted me via LinkedIn, which I'm on LinkedIn, and I put all our shows on LinkedIn. And she's a medium, and she made lots of predictions regarding Gabby Petito, Summer Wells, all kinds of other things. What do you guys think about having a medium come on police off the cuff? What are your feelings about that? Let me know in the chat. I'll give you my feelings. I'm not a believer in mediums, especially in regards to solving crimes. And I told her that. I told her I'm very, very skeptical. But it's entertaining. It's entertaining having a medium on the show. Joe Me, there are no medium. Those are pretenders. I'm not a believer in mediums. The truth, good idea. Don't dismiss the... I'd be interested. Absolutely not. Lisa Clark could be interesting. Aunt BB, I agree with you, Bill. But even if you don't believe in it, for example, I don't believe in it, but I think it can be entertaining. And sometimes some of their predictions, I think sometimes they just cast a very wide net so that some of what they say may potentially come true. She just messaged me. Joe Murray, in the Arbery case, he's saying he does not see the racial element. Joe, I didn't really watch that case. One of the things I find distressing is how they've already jumped to a civil rights violation. And then you have this guy in Waukesha, Wisconsin, who runs over 6 people, kills them, kills 6 people. And he's got obvious ties to Black Lives Don't Matter, but that was not a a civil rights violation. That was just the guy killing 6 people and potentially even more and injuring. So I'm really disturbed by that. I'm disturbed by Nadler saying that he wants to sick the feds on Kyle Rittenhouse. I mean, where are these? That's a jury. The jury has spoken. Nadler should really watch his back. That's ridiculous to say something like that. He's going to sick the feds on Kyle Rittenhouse after the jury has spoken. I think you better watch yourself, Congressman Nadler, because you're disconnected to the Constitution and to law. How you could even say that? No, Sarah, he had ties to Black Lives Matter, the driver of the red SUV. And if you listen to some of these news stations like CNN and MSNBC, they pretended that the red SUV did this by itself, that no one was driving it. I find that really distasteful. I find it dishonest. And the fact that an SUV did this. No, there was no driver. It was just an SUV. Joey Brooklyn, yeah, Nadler's a disgrace. He in more ways than one. Sarah, whether he's a nut job or not, he had an animus towards a certain group of people, and he killed 6 of them. And the national media is not even covering the story. And 50 people were injured, and he killed 6 people, running them over with a car. And so I don't care what his mental state of mind was. He deserves to be held accountable for that. I tell you, when you're outside and it's so cold, the coffee goes from hot to like lukewarm and then to cold before you know it, Sarah, yes, I did know that he ran over his girlfriend. He should never have been out on bail. He should have been in, and these progressive politicians are going to cause the death of lots of people through these ridiculous bail laws. Ridiculous. Like, judges can't say, no, you're a danger to the community. Just put him in. No bail. That's what we need. It's outrageous. And the fact that a lot of these prosecutors now don't want to prosecute. Have you seen what's going on in California with these packs going into these high-end stores and just cleaning them out? That's also in regards to the fact that they don't want to prosecute when the value is under $950. So they get these groups and they, 20, 30, 40 people go into these stores and they each steal something. And that's what you get when you don't punish people for committing crimes. What are these high-end stores going to do? They can't withstand that kind of loss. I'll tell you what they're going to do. They're going to close up and move out of there and go to a place where they're protected and a place where the district attorney prosecutes. Jackie Santel, any help? You never know. Yes, Sarah, it's yes, we had 2 of her in Minnesota last night. The truth, yeah, they're looting Vuitton stores where individual items cost enough to satisfy the statute. It's, we used to have that happen a lot in the middle 80s, late 80s, and they used to get huge groups of kids, and we used to call them wolf packs. And of course, that was trash. You can't compare humans to wolves. Well, their behavior was like wolves. They would attack in packs and just rob people indiscriminately on the street and mess people up too, like beat them up and stuff. So it's all coming back. It's coming back because of the lax treatment of criminals, acting in concert. Yes, Joe Murray's teaching everyone the law, man. It's like being in a law class, watching his show. Sarah, at Best Buy, they took TVs, tablets, scooters, electric. How long can a capitalistic society withstand crime like that before these businesses? First of all, you know what they're going to do. They're just going to move from areas that allow that kind of behavior. They're going to move. Folks, this is Coffee with Cannon. You guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Here he is, the great Pete Pranzo is here. That's great to see you, Lieutenant Pete. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Where's Richella? I don't see her yet. I'm sure I'll see her very soon. So, yeah, we're trying to, in 2022, we're really trying to bring you some amazing shows, and the way you get amazing shows is to have amazing guests. And tough always to get an amazing guest, but there's guests out there um, that are just waiting to to pick their knowledge and their talent and that type of stuff. During the year 2021, we sort of segued away. I was doing, when we started the year, I was doing it with Mark DeMeo, and the show was lighter, and we was sort of just covering like great police careers, guys that had, which is great. But I sort of segued away from that in my own show, Police Off the Cuff Real Crime, and we're more or less covering real crime stories now. And I've been working with Phil Grimaldi, straight out of Brooklyn, Phil Grimaldi. And it's been interesting. It's been very interesting. Try to change up because, was the other show working? Not in regards to the numbers that you need to really grow in the YouTube, the YouTube business. And we needed to change, and that's what I did. I changed to Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories, and I'm so looking forward to 2022. There's so many different topics we can cover. There's so many great, detectives and police officers and retired chiefs and from all over the country, not just from the NYPD. I remember when we first started, some of the people were saying, "Oh, this show will never work because you just interview NYPD." Well, that's not just who we interview. For example, Stephen Keogh is from Scotland Yard. He's coming on Tuesday, Phil Easter, we love Joe Murray. RDNAC, hi guys, it's really discouraging living in Los Angeles these days, I gotta say. It's a shame, RDNC, to watch it from afar. And also, for that matter, to watch New York City. In 8 years, this mayor, de Blasio, has destroyed the safest large city in the country. Absolutely destroyed it. And I don't know if it can come back from that. Because I don't know if, what brought New York City to be the safest large city in the world, really, was a combined effort with several entities. And number one, of course, was the police department. Number two was the district attorney's office. Number three was corrections, parole, probation. All of those people were on board. Number four was communities, being behind the broken windows style of policing. And number five was the relentless follow-up that was necessary in broken windows policing in order to make New York City the safest large city in the world. So now in 8 years, de Blasio, probably the worst mayor in New York City history, has turned it back into New York City of the 1980s and 1990s. It's not yet at that level. In 1990, there was 2,200 murders in New York City, and that's the statistic they always cite when they're showing how out of control New York City is. And it's going back. It's going in that direction. Is Eric Adams going to reverse this trend? I doubt it. I doubt it. He talks tough, but if you know anything about his police career, he was not a proactive officer himself. So he can talk a good game, but he has a district attorney now, this new district attorney, Bragg. He's behind progressive criminal justice policies. They don't want to arrest people. They don't want to indict people. They don't want to try people. They want to put people back into the community with their families so they can be with their families to commit more crime, And I'm sorry I'm so cynical, but, we, being us retired NYPD guys and guys that are still on the job, we created this amazingly safe city, and it was given back to the criminal element, given back by this buffoon of a mayor and the whole clown posse he had that worked with him. And he can't leave quickly enough, And I hope that he's being watched on his exit, because I'd watch the purse strings of New York City as that guy leaves, New York City was the greatest in the world. It still could be, but David Kahn, as one who saw the return on with Comstat. Yeah, Comstat, I had the 2.4 and the 2.3 RIP unit. 2.4 from 95 to 97, the 2.3 RIP unit from 97 to 2002. And I was called upon the carpet at Comstat numerous times, questioned by Chief of Department Louis Anemone, who was really a tough inquisitor. Uh, Jack Maple, who was the architect of Comstat, brilliant man, only a lieutenant on the transit police, but brilliant man. He invented Comstat. He invented how to utilize broken windows policing in New York City, which resulted in this huge drop in crime. Uh, then Norris, Eddie Norris, took over for Jack Maple when he retired, and all of those things, all of the Joe Murray. I couldn't. The chat's going by really fast. I know you're still talking about the Arbery case, and it's look. They were convicted. The three guys. The only I don't know a lot about the case. I was just the one guy who didn't pull the trigger nor chase him, but I I don't know exactly his part. He got the same sentence as everyone else. He got charged with acting in concert, and I don't know all the facts of the case. Uh, there's certain states now that don't want to charge in concert anymore. Like if you plan a robbery and you're not actually the guy with the gun, but you're on the outskirts, but you're involved in it. Some states don't want to charge you with acting in concert. Another progressive criminal justice reform there. So I saw Duty Ron did a great job on the Brian Laundrie case with an anthropologist had declared that Brian Laundrie had in fact committed suicide. And I think there's no doubt that the FBI has the gun, or they wouldn't be making this declaration that they're sure that. But I still question it because they just recovered. I don't question that there was a bullet hole in his skull. I don't question that. But how do you just declare that he in fact pulled the trigger himself? How do you declare that? How do they know that it's a suicide? Someone could have killed him and stuck the gun against his head. We don't even know if it was against his head. It could have been inside his mouth. But there's certain things, if a gun was stuck against your head, it would leave something called tattooing. And because of the flame and the gases that come out of the end of the gun, it would leave the imprint of the barrel of the gun on the side of Brian Laundrie's head, and even in bone, which was skull matter. And it would leave remnants of it being a projectile. So all of those things, yes, they can predict, and there could be ballistic evidence inside the skull. Had the we talk about stippling, gunshot residue, and maybe even the projectile could still be in the skull and not have exited. So all of that, but does that still tell us 100% that it was a suicide? I'm not satisfied that it was a suicide, and I think Joe Murray, who's in the chat, would probably agree with me because one other thing, there could be a note that we do not know. He could have left a note saying, "I'm going to kill myself." He could have even have left a note confessing to killing Gabby Petito. We don't know any of those things. There's a lot of things that we don't know in regards to the death of both of them. And I'm sure Joe Murray could argue this too. But I watched a lot of Duty Ron's show, and scientists, the doctor that came on, the anthropologist, brilliant stuff. And Ed Wallace, first grade crime scene detective. I was always in the investigation of murder. I always really appreciated the crime scene detectives and the work they did, because they were really scientists, But I couldn't do that kind of work myself. I don't have the patience for that, and I don't have. I want to be out there. I want to be doing the police work side of it. I want to be trying to apprehend the bad guy. I want to be knocking on doors. I want to be pulling murderers out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to be looking at gunshot residue, stippling. I don't want to be looking under microscopes. That's just not my thing. But do I admire the people that can do that? 100%. Joe Murray, I don't see any reason to suspect the father. Are you talking about Chris Laundrie? No, I don't. I don't suspect either one of them. I'm not saying that, but do we have enough evidence to definitively classify this as suicide? That's what I'm asking you, counselor. And you're always the one trying to create doubt. So here I am. I'm the one creating doubt right now, and I'm not 100% satisfied. A forensic photographer, is that a good field to be in? Is it worthwhile? Well, on the NYPD, all crime scene detectives, they learn how to take the pictures themselves. So yeah, they learn. They have a 35 millimeter camera and they take the photos, crime scene photos, which means up close and personal gunshot wounds, stipplings. Joe Murray, no, I don't see it. No, I don't see either one of them killing Brian either. But do you see that it's a 100% uh, slam dunk that he committed suicide? That's what I'm asking you, Joe. Very simple, counselor. Do I need to rephrase it? Was it a slam dunk? Because it seems to be everyone is accepting it. I'm not, 100% when they made the identification on Brian Laundrie via odontology, which is the dental work, I accepted that. But there was a lot of naysayers out there that were saying, "Oh, how do we know they just didn't bring teeth there in a skull?" I mean, come on, Dog, even the guy Dog, that cartoon character, who thinks he's an investigator, and then once they, of course, proved it through DNA, now everyone is shut up and they're being quiet. Mickey V, does the FBI have the gun? I would bet that the FBI absolutely has the gun. Again, they don't tell anyone anything. I'm sure that the FBI has the gun. Joe Murray says, I don't see the suicide slam dunk either. So this is the first thing, not the first thing, but one of a few things that Joe and I agree on. But could there be other evidence that we are not privy to that tilts the scale to that it was a suicide? Yeah, and one of those things could be a note. They recovered that notebook. Did he write a suicide note in that notebook? It's also very strange how the mother and father, Chris and Roberta Laundrie, went to that park and went to the exact location he was. And the mother was seen picking up something black and heavy that appeared to be, could have been a firearm, as testified to by the Fox 5 cameraman. Now, that was strange because it was the first day that they opened up the park, and the next thing you know, they're recovering the what they described as a dry bag. At least Ed Wallace on Duty Run show described it as a dry bag, and also they recovered a backpack in addition to Brian's remains. So some very strange things about that. And one of the things that I think the attorney, Stephen Bertolino, for the Laundries, I think he's being very careful because I think he realizes that there's going to be a wrongful death civil suit against the Laundries. And obviously they had nothing to do with the murder of Gabby. And the authorities would have to prove that Brian Laundrie did, but they could be sued based on the fact of assisting Brian, and they could be sued for wrongful death. And Joe, if I'm wrong about that, please let me know in the chat. But I think, where's the gun? MC's audio, we're just discussing that. The gun is probably in the custody of the FBI. And if there was a projectile discovered and recovered inside the skull, they could obviously compare that to the firearm and make a positive identification. I don't know if the gun was a semi-auto or it was a revolver. If it was a revolver, the shell casing would remain inside the cylinder. If it was a semi-auto, the shell casing would have been ejected, and possibly they could have found the shell casing on the scene. A lot of unanswered questions to this case. There is no meritorious civil case against the parents based upon what we know. But Joe, I don't think we know enough to say that. I'm just saying there could be. And just to say, I don't believe a word coming out of the Laundrie's attorney's mouth. I mean, he's made the rounds of every single talk show and I don't think he's told the truth since he's been representing them. And is that the role of an attorney? I don't know, but uh, he he certainly, yeah. Book, you have a book, do tell. Yeah, he's probably writing his book as we speak. You know, um, so any aid given to the Brian after the warrant would be a problem for the parents, Lieutenant Pete. I think you're right, Lieutenant Pete. So we don't know all. We say this all the time, but it's so true. We don't know the ins and outs of this case. We're not privy to the case folder. We can predict certain things based on what we know, based on the evidence that came out. I mean, uh, I think even, do you guys remember back when the coroner of uh, in Wyoming said made sort of a slip and said this murder was um, connected to domestic violence, which would have directly, he really, I think, made a sort of a slip saying that because that would have directly pointed to Brian Laundrie if it was in fact pointed towards domestic violence. And the fact that, Jeanette, how are you, Jeanette? Good to see you. Uh, SSS, they weren't even taking her disappearance seriously until Brian went, yeah, Brian went missing. That's so true. You know, this case can be dissected and taken apart, but perhaps when we know more of the facts down the road, which we don't obviously know all of them now. Turtle Runner, no, I don't have a book. One of these days, maybe I'll write my memoir. I don't know. We'll see where this show goes. Maybe if this show blows up, I won't need to write a book, you know? Sarah, Amber Buck, I agree. Show's appearance can hide the real status of couples sometimes. Yeah. You know, we all watch that interaction with the Moab police. And that's where I think the biggest sort of disagreement came between our audiences, ourselves, and some of our subscribers, some of our fans, as we call them. We had come out sort of early that we thought the Moab police did a pretty thorough job. When I even say that in this show or in my other show, I get like attacked. Oh my God, you know, look, they were on that scene for probably like 45 minutes to an hour. That was a pretty thorough investigation. And of course, Amber Buck, good to see you. You have a great day. You know, I get attacked all the time when I say that. But you know something, the old expression 2020 hindsight. You know, everyone has 2020 hindsight. Would have an arrest in that situation, would that have prevented the death of Gabby Petito, which occurred 15 days later? That interaction with the Moab police was on August 12th. I believe that the body was found on August 27th by the Bethunes. Remember, they had that video, and they were the ones that discovered it. So I think that you know, when we talk about that, and when we talk about how domestic violence is investigated in New York City, it appeared to us professionals, that they did a pretty thorough job. And you know, now they're even being second guessed by, you know, outside agencies. Like, when police make decisions, they have to be made on the spot, on the scene, without, you can't really confer with, you know, attorneys, social workers. You know, what should I do here? Want to look at the body worn video? The body worn video won't be ready for days anyway. But you know, they have to make decisions live on the scene, and then you get all these Monday morning quarterbacks that question your decisions. And as I said, I thought that they did a pretty good job. I mean, we see horrendous domestic violence incidents across the country. That one that Duty Ron showed of that football player that used to play for the New York Jets, that was horrendous. He threw her around like a rag doll. I forget the guy's name right now. If anyone has it, put it in the chat. Thank God she had that videotaped. Horrendous. That guy's a bad guy, you know. There's no doubt that guy has the propensity to kill her and would kill her, you know. And here you watch the criminal justice system, they'll put him back out like he's a friend of the family, you know. Wonder if they went to search for Brian Laundrie before they said he was missing. That's what they knew where Brian Laundrie was. Yeah, there was the whole thing where the family brought the car to the park. With this, we're talking about the Brian Laundrie case again. There was the whole thing. I think they knew where he was. Did the family know that he was going to commit suicide? That's one of the things that we have to dissect, and that's one of the problems I had with the attorney. I think if the attorney was really advising them properly and professionally, he should have been in Florida, not on Long Island, doing doing Zooms with the family and doing FaceTimes is not the same thing as being on the scene, physically there, giving your counsel. And he could have looked at Brian Laundrie's body language, see how in crisis he was. Did he have a chance? Folks, again, this is Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories, Coffee with Cannon. If you're not subscribed, please go to our YouTube, hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell. We're looking forward to going over 34,000 very soon. And it's not 34, I'm sorry, 24. I'm wishful thinking. Yeah, I want to go over 34 too, but first I got to go over 24 before I start talking about that. We also, the holidays are coming up, Christmas, Hanukkah. We have merchandise. This is one of the things we have, of course, our Police Off the Cuff cup and, our motto, dipped in butter. You can get that on the Police Off the Cuff website and order, and there's all kinds of other sweatshirts, there's shirts, there's the, I don't know what they're called, big containers for the coffee. So purchase some of our merchandise. It'll be a talking point on your coffee table, Yes, the merch, Jen Lo. The merch. Is this the first time you guys are hearing it? I hope not, But, and also we have a Patreon. If you could support us, go on Patreon. We have 3 levels to that. And I want to thank all you guys that have and will support Police Off the Cuff. I really appreciate you guys. It's amazing to me when I come here and I talk to you guys as people from all over the world. It's an unbelievable thing. You know how powerful that makes me feel? I can just pull up this and just talk to people. It's just totally incredible. A lot of fun. Jen Lo, yes, Polish My Rack. That's right. The Polish My Rack shirts. Free Society 77th are evil. I don't know what you mean by that, Free Society. But Police Off the Cuff dipped in Irish butter. That's right. Hi from Arkansas, Kristen Melcher. Good to see you. Of course, Lieutenant Pete, you got your dipped in butter mug. I know that. You're an early supporter, Mickey V, great to see you guys. So, guys, I'm coming up on 38 minutes, and I usually don't like to go too far over 35. And I want to thank all you guys for the support. And again, Tuesday night, we have a show scheduled with Stephen Keogh from Scotland Yard, a retired inspector. And it should be a really interesting show as we compare notes with how we do things in regards to homicide investigation on the NYPD and in regards to how they do it in Scotland Yard. So guys, have a great day. Thank you so much for listening.